So you probably read the title and you're thinking like, this guy's crazy. No one actually likes waiting in line. And yeah, I am crazy, but I do like waiting in line. And I'm not talking like Universal Disney where you get something to look at in line. I'm talking Six Flags, like black top, sun beating down on you, feeling like crap the entire time because you haven't slept or ate or had enough water. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of line that I sometimes actually quite enjoy. I know that doesn't sound like the most staunch defense, but hear me out. So, when most people go to theme parks, they're going to experience it with people they already know. You know, you're going to travel with friends, family, significant others, maybe a big group or a club or coworkers, anything like that. You go in, you have your friends, you talk to them throughout the day. Maybe every now and then a stranger will approach you and strike up a conversation in line. But for the most part, you're sticking to the people that you know. You have your predefined expectations. You know what these people are like. And that's the way that most people go to theme parks. And I love this. I love going to a theme park with friends. I think it's a great bonding experience. But something that I've been doing over the past couple of years, because I like going to theme parks more than most of my friends do, and I can't always get people together for trips every other month, is I've just started traveling by myself a lot recently. Um, I've been to like Florida, the Carolinas, Ohio, a couple other places by myself, and every time I do, I always get a really interesting social experience. So I've noticed being out in the world, going about your day, at least in the areas that I've lived my life, there's not a lot of, stopping to talk to people. Everyone's kind of got places to be. You might strike up a conversation with a friendly person in the grocery store or something, but like, for the most part, people kind of keep to themselves in public. Unless you're like hanging out and doing something fun. But theme parks provide like a weird third space effect where nobody's necessarily got anything to do. We're all just here to have fun and kill time. So you're not gonna like be brushed up by people that have other things going on or other more important things happening to attend to. We're all just kind of chilling and having a good time. And even around like the midways of the theme parks or like going between attractions, people are kind of keeping to themselves. So, you're like, well, I got to get to the next attraction. You're checking the wait times. You're thinking about food, water. But then when you get into line, you're there. You're stuck for, 20 to 40 minutes on average, maybe more. And if you're traveling by yourself, suddenly, you could go on your phone for the entire line, for every line throughout the day, but that's going to get boring, at least if you're me. I'm not a big doom scroller. So naturally, eventually, at some point, you're just going to start talking to the people around you, or they're going to start talking to you. Maybe you're wearing your theme park t-shirt, and a Thuzy comes up to you and he says, "Oh, I love that park," or "I love that coaster." That's happened to me a lot. Or, we could be on the ride talking about the other coasters we've been on today, or what we're about to do, or the ride itself that we just got on. And I found that people just get so chatty in line for rides and roller coasters, especially at your regional parks when you're running into people that are there by themselves more often, as opposed to the Disneys and Universals where it's like an entire family unit coming around together. So yeah, I find that people are just so open to conversation, and unlike traveling with your friends, these are strangers. So you're kind of playing the social roulette where it's a safe, controlled environment. Like there's security. You can't like bring a gun into the park, so you don't necessarily have to worry about being unsafe around strangers. Not that I'm probably a little too careless around strangers, anyways, because I grew up in a small town and I haven't had the fear of God put into me yet. But yeah, people just kind of come up to you. You can talk. There's no real risk involved, and yeah, the lines create a really interesting social environment. So I have a couple stories from being in lines at theme parks on my solo trips. So my first story is from when I went to SeaWorld Orlando last year, and I was in line for Mako, as I spent a good half of my day in line for Mako, just re-riding it over and over again. This guy noticed that I had been in line with him for the past like 3 or 4 rides, and we've been riding Mako over and over. We're clearly both into coasters. We have something in common. So we start chatting to each other, and we end up sitting together on the ride. And this guy's super cool. I find out that he's from Britain, that he's traveling with his family, and they're at Disney, but he's gone to SeaWorld for the day to get some credits. So he's kind of traveling by himself, enthusiasing it up like I am. And I'm like, ooh, I've been riding Mako all day, and do you want to know the best ride to sit? And he's like, oh yeah, what row? And I'm like, well, I've ridden every row today, and actually, it's not the back on this ride. I don't know if it was just that day or something, but Mako had like a magic seat on row 3 that day. So I take him on the magic seat, and he's like, oh my god, that was so good. And I'm like, right? So we're just chatting. He's like, oh yeah, I have all these coasters in the UK and Europe. And he's like, I think Mako might be better than Shambhala. And I'm like, what? No way Mako's better than Shambhala. But he's like, yeah, no, I think it might be. I haven't been on Shambhala, so I've only just heard about how good it is. Damn. But yeah, so that's cool. I mean, how often do you get to talk to someone from Europe? I mean, I guess if you're in New York City or something, it happens more often than not. But for me, that's not a common occurrence. So another one was I was in line for Wildcats Revenge at Hershey Park. And, I was traveling with my dad and my mom that day, but they were taking a break for dinner. They didn't want to thuzy around with me all day. So I was in line for myself for Wildcats Revenge, and there was this young family in front of me. Maybe their kid was like 8. They looked like they were maybe in their mid-30s or so. And, we started chatting, and they were like, oh, my kid's been on everything today. And the kid's like super enthused about the ride. He's so excited to get on. And the dad's into it too. Like the dad's a coaster guy, but the mom, not so much. She's kind of putting on a brave face because it's her kid's birthday and she wants to ride everything with him. And it's so adorable. And she's like, well, I didn't like the Jolly Rancher remix. I didn't like going backwards on that one. She's like, do you think I can handle Wildcats Revenge? And I don't like to lie to people about how scary a ride is. So I'm like, well, it's pretty intense. I think you can handle it. I think you're going to have a lot of fun, but it's also going to scare the hell out of you. Oh, I didn't say hell because there was a kid around, got to be careful with that. But like she was clearly willing to do it for the sake of her kid, and I thought that was so cute. So they ended up on the ride, one train ahead of me, and I waved to them as they go out the station. Then, I see them get off as I'm getting on, and the mom gives me a thumbs up, and I'm just thinking like, oh, that's so sweet. I love that she would like do that for her kid, and she seemed to enjoy it too, so. Then there was one time, and this isn't necessarily a wholesome story like the last one was, but I was at Six Flags Over Georgia, and I was in line for Twisted Cyclone. And there was a guy in front of me who was of a particular red hat breed, but he was definitely like drinking the Kool-Aid. He was a conspiracy theorist kind of guy, and he was telling me about how like Joe Biden was controlling the weather. I'm just like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? And we're like chatting about coasters and stuff too, because I'm not going to shut myself down to a conversation with somebody that's interesting, even if I completely disagree with them on everything. I'm just going to shut up and listen and hear what crazy things this guy has to say. So we get on the coaster together, and he's yapping about, like, all these crazy things. He's a thuzy, too, so I'll engage with him in conversations about roller coasters, and then I kind of clam up whenever he starts talking politics. But he's like, yeah, and then, like, everyone in the American Coaster Enthusiast is like worshiping Satan, and I'm like, what the hell are we talking about? So that was one of the more off-color Thuzy interactions I've had in public, but it was so funny. Then the same day at that park, I meet this family that's from Alabama, and they're in line for Batman. and they're all super jazzed. They're like, I'm gonna get on a Batman roller coaster. It's the best ride in the world, man. I get on this ride. That's exactly what they sounded like. It's like high-pitched Boomhauer from King of the Hill. And they had this one kid with them. Like, everyone in the family was super excited to get on the ride. And the kid's just at the back of the family going like, I don't want to ride the Batman. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'm from New York. I'm way out. And they're like, oh man, you're way out. That's way out of here. No, I've never met someone from New York before. That's crazy. So, lots of fun stories from Georgia. I met a similar person on Carolina Cyclone, or not Carolina Cyclone, Flying Cobras at Carowinds. And he was super pumped to get on the ride. He was like, and I tell you, this is the best ride they ever built, Carowinds, yeah. And I'm like, it was like his first time at the park, and he was so excited. I think he might have been on something, or I don't know, maybe that's just how Southerners sound when they're excited. But he was going a mile a minute about how much he loved the Flying Cobras. And I'm like, I don't even like the ride that much, but he got me so pumped. And I had so much fun because I was sitting next to this crazy guy. And then we get off at the end, and I'm like, oh, have you done Fury and Copperhead Strike yet? And he's like, oh, no, man, I didn't get to those ones yet. Are they good? And I'm like, dude, you gotta get on Copperhead Strike and Fury. He's like, okay, I'm gonna head to those ones next, so I'll let you know what I think. I saw him later, and he was... You could see just the joy on his face, like he was having the time of his life at Carowinds. I don't know if he was a coaster guy or anything, or if this was one of his first big park days, but yeah, that was super fun. So I have a couple different stories from when I was marathoning Iron Gwazi. I tend to get these stories when I'm waiting in line for like the Thuzy Bait rides, like your number ones in the park, Mako's, Iron Gwazis, Stardust, stuff like that. And I get on the ride, switching rows, just staying on as much as I can, running around the line. And on some of my rides, I met another international couple, and they were from the UK again. It seems to be a lot of UK travelers in Florida. And we were talking about like Untamed that they have over there, not in the UK, but in Europe, and all their favorite rides, and that was super fun. I met some kids on the ride, and they were they were asking me about traveling places, and they were like brain rotting, being kids, having so much fun. And they were calling me Unc and shit because I'm in my 20s and they were like 12. I thought it was really funny. And then I met a YouTuber while I was riding. I think it was around my 10th or 11th lap on the ride. I see Zooterloopers, and he wasn't even recording a video or anything. He was just going on a date with his girlfriend, and we were chatting like, oh yeah, I take her here all the time. This is like our favorite date spot. And I'm just thinking like, oh man, that's goals. I want to be a Thuzy-tuber with a girlfriend that goes to Busch Gardens Tampa with me all the time. But he was super nice, really genuine and sweet guy. So yeah, shout out Zooterloopers. On a similar note, I met Airtime Mike in line for El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure opening day last year. And I got my back row ride. And I was telling him, like, the morning of, I got a middle of the ride experience on El Toro when it hadn't warmed up yet, and I was kind of let down. And he was like, no, let El Toro cook. So we sat in the back row, which I was going to do anyways. And we get on the ride, and it's fucking, it's El Toro. It's amazing. Just airtime after airtime after airtime. And we got off the ride, and he was like, see, I told you so. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. El Toro is amazing. And I hadn't been on Voyage yet, so at that point I was like, damn, this is the best wooden coaster they've ever done. But he was really cool. So I have a couple stories from Cedar Point, too. This is the park that I've been to by myself the most often at this point. I think I've gone like 3 times by myself. And I always have different experiences every time. So the first time I went by myself, I was kind of just bouncing around. I had some conversations in line with people, but there was nothing that really stuck. But then like halfway through the day, I get in line for Raptor, And I meet this girl who's just gotten to the park, and she's like, yeah, I'm local. I come here by myself after class a lot. And I'm like, yo, that's so sick. So we ride Raptor together. We get off, we head back towards Maverick. We're just chatting it up. She's talking about all the drama and the plus size Cedar Point Facebook. I'm like, ooh, I'm always here for drama, especially when I'm not involved in it. And yeah, she's like, oh, this creepy guy is always hitting on all the women in the server. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a Facebook group. And we get in line for Maverick, and there's these kids in front of us. And me and this girl are talking about Charlie Kirk because that like just happened. And the girls in front of us are like, you can't talk about it. It's not cool to talk about it. And these are like 12-year-olds, little chudlings in Ohio. And like, I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with these kids. I don't really care to change their mind on it. But she was getting like passionately heated at these children. And then at some point they realize that they've pissed her off, and they just start rage baiting her. They're like, you smell bad actually, and and she's like fuming. So I don't know what to do. I just kind of dip out of line and I just go do other things. I let her fume at these 12-year-olds on her lonesome. You know, I'm not really trying to get into a fist fight with some kids just because I'm hanging out with someone who's getting enraged. So, you know, I just kind of ditch her. Not one of my most fun, but like that's the roulette that I'm talking about. Sometimes you meet someone really cool. Sometimes you meet someone that loses their cool when 12-year-olds start talking about Charlie Kirk. So another story I had from Cedar Point this year, I was using Adventures with Alex, his Park Buds app, because it just seemed totally up my alley. I would recommend checking it out, by the way. It's a really cool app. Not super active, but, you know, Alex is trying to grow it. And, because, like, it's the perfect concept for me. I'm always looking to meet strangers when I'm out at theme parks, have a good time. And I met this guy, and like, again, like halfway through the day, he's like, yeah, I just pulled up to the park if you want to hang out. And he's, kind of like a mutual of Alex's. I think they knew each other vaguely. And, 30-year-old gay guy, or maybe bi, I don't remember. But we just spent the whole day, like, going between rides, talking about coasters, talking about life, how he lived an extremely different lifestyle from me, because I'm, like, country bisexual, gender queer Gen Z, and he's super, like, inner city millennial gay. So, totally different queer experiences here. And we were just kind of chatting, talking about being gay coaster enthusiasts, and just talking about like coasters at Cedar Point, coasters at other parks. We had like a non-stop conversation from like 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. when we left the park, and he even drove me back to my motel afterwards because otherwise I was gonna have to Uber, so he offered to drive me. So yeah, some cool strangers at Cedar Point, some chud strangers at Cedar Point. I've kind of had both experiences there. And of course, the little small things like there was a couple from, I want to say Tennessee, when I was in line for Top Thrill 2 during early entry, and we were chatting about the parks that they've been to. The wife was super outgoing and the husband was being supportive, but like he was maybe a little bit more tired or not as into the idea of chatting up with the 20-year-olds. They were both maybe in their 40s, 50s, but they were super into coasters, and just hearing their opinions about stuff that they've done and places they've been to, and sharing my travel stories with them. Super nice people. And I have so many stories of like little things like that I don't even necessarily remember all of them. Little like, you know, we're in line for maybe 20 minutes, we get on the ride, we never see each other again. But turns out I actually had seen that couple the previous day. We were on Pipe Scream together, of all things, and there was this girl on Pipe Scream that was screaming her lungs out like she was gonna die. It was really funny. And then as I'm waiting in line for the second day at Cedar Point, I get tapped on my shoulder and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm in Ohio, I don't know anyone here. And then this guy's like, oh yeah, the Rapterra sweatshirt, I saw you on Pipe Scream yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah, what's up, dude? And that was the couple that I ended up hanging out on Top Thrill 2 with. And, you know, throughout the day, I kind of saw them at various rides, and I wave hi to them. So yeah, I've just met so many cool people for being in line at a theme park. Um, if you ever get the chance, solo travel, wear a coaster t-shirt, put yourself in line by yourself. You're gonna get someone talking to you. Oh, I forgot about my favorite story. The one like actual lasting friendship that I've made at a theme park. Save the best for last too. So everyone knows the mystical status of the Beast at night at Kings Island. And I wasn't at this park by myself, I was with my dad. But he was kind of chudding out. He didn't want to get the Beast night ride. He wanted to just kind of sit and relax because he was tired, which is like fair enough. So I get in line for the Beast by myself, and there's someone in front of me with I think it was an El Toro hoodie on. And I'm like, yo, sick, I love El Toro. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love El Toro. Yeah, what's your favorite coaster? And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I think at the time it might have been Pantherian or something. So like, yeah, and then we're in line for maybe 2 hours because, you know, the ride goes down for the fireworks, comes back up. It's a pretty long line since everyone's in line for Beast at night. And the whole thing is a party. Like, we sing Happy Birthday at least twice for people ahead of us in line. We start cheering when the ride comes back online after the fireworks. People are chanting one more ride, you know, scrambling into the rows. The operators are having a great time. And get off the ride and everyone's chanting one more ride. And the ride operator's like, you want to go again? And everyone's like, yeah, I want to go again. And the ride operator's like, come back tomorrow. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I kept in touch with this girl and I got her Discord. And we've been talking ever since. We keep a pen pal, like a Thuzy pen pal thing going. So yeah, that was one of my favorite stories of meeting people in line. That's pretty much all I can think of for the big memorable stories. But yeah, I've just had so many fun experiences being in line for coasters and experiencing that Thuzy culture and even non-Thuzy culture, just hanging out with GP who happened to be social and fun to talk to. You know, more stories are coming into my mind as I say this, but I covered all the big ones. So yeah, definitely try going out to a theme park and chatting up strangers in line. It totally does yield results a lot of the time. So thanks for watching.